Well, hello everybody. Um, thank you for tuning in to Poker for Muppets. This is Pluto Man, of course, and this is the third part of my the tournament I played yesterday, PLO8 tournament. You see, I've managed to accumulate a decent stack here. That second session, the second part was went well for me. Um, Anyway, interesting game. I think my biggest problem with this game was lots of problems, but the biggest one is I just haven't played enough of it. I need to play a lot more. So I need to make sure whenever I'm playing a badugi or something else that I play some O8 as well. I think that's uh, so. Anyway, we're going to dive in here to the third part of this tournament. See what happens next. 33 players left and 23 get paid. But right now, with a stack like this, I'm not interested in finishing 23rd or anything like that. I'm actually trying to um, get get to the final table and even do a bit better than that. So win it. Who knows? Who knows? Ooh, is that a spoiler? Oh, they spoiled it. No. Oh, you'll have to find out, won't you? You have to watch it. So anyway, here goes. We've got a straight on the other table, and this is a funny hand. I actually decided to draw five. I probably should have kept the nine, and I make a good 10. Um, I just put out a small bet. I don't know why I bet so small there actually. I win that pot despite drawing five. Basically because I wanted someone to call. I think people might have been suspicious. Maybe I should have bet bigger. I probably should have bet bigger. I don't know. It's not very often you draw five. Maybe I should have drawn four, should have kept the nine there actually. But so I'm not getting any hands at the moment. Here's a good hand. Much better than, just it's a very different game to as I just checked this down because you know maybe I could have bet there. So we'll have jacks there too. So I probably, looking back, should have fired out a small bet there. I don't know. I think that's close actually. I think that's close. I've got a big, good hand here. It can go either way. Because if I break off the jack, I have a gut shot. So four is is out of my outs. But I was going to pat there certainly because if somebody patted in front of me, I might just pat myself. I don't know. So that tournament's relatively high maintenance simply because there are only two streets. You play a lot of hands very quickly, which is why there's one reason why it's actually a very good tournament game. So you see, I'm going along reasonably nicely there too. We start on 3,000. I've got 5,000, over 5,000, and again I pick up another 10-9, very similar to that hand I had 1 minute earlier. If he raises me, I'm certainly going to three bet this. We've got Hammer Poke there with a very short stack. Here we go, I go for a three bet to about just over three times what he raised to. Now this is a bit awkward. I think this was a real difficult one. You're out of position, that makes it so much harder. But what does he do here? I'm pretty sure he bets. He bets a third of the pot. And I feel that this is a sucker bet. I feel that it's a sucker bet. I feel if he was bluffing, he would bet more. So I decided to fold, which was a real bugger there. I felt that actually, when I look back, that was a fairly crucial hand for the tournament because if I'd won that hand, if it just checked down and I'd won, then like my my stack would have been in the 6,000s, and it would have just given me a kind of a foundation to build from. That didn't happen. Not just giving you a spoiler alert. Maybe I still come back and win the tournament, right? I mean, who knows? But so I've got a very good one-way hand here. As one-way hands go, this is good. It's double suited, but I get rid of it now. You really want to have a low. It probably actually heads up. It probably plays okay, but you would just like to have a low there, like a 3 or something. So I decide to let that go. I don't come in here. I would have come in if somebody hadn't limped in before me. Then I would have opened that up for sure. With somebody limping in, suddenly my 10-7 draw goes down in value. Also means that other people are going to probably come in. So Gotcha makes number 2, and Hamapoke doesn't get to doesn't yeah, it's not his lucky day. Although he was extremely passive earlier on, and I couldn't get what he was playing with. So a very, very strong hand here, double suited. Is it double suited? Can't actually see. So I got a gut shot here. I think I just took that hand down. Yeah, nobody called my bet, my raise rather. So I make number 9. I make whatever that is. Number 9. Oh, now so I go. Do I check raise here? Oh, the thing is, I expected him to bet a lot. So I probably should have just gone out and bet that myself. It wouldn't have made any difference. He would have folded, I'm sure. But he could have raised with that straight, and that would have put me in a really awkward position. That would have been really interesting to see if he'd done that. And I think in that case, I probably would have called him actually because of what he's like. So it's possible I could have got him to raise me with a straight there. I'm actually against him. I know he's an aggressive player. He doesn't sort of cower exactly under pressure. I could have induced a raise there. Under the gun, this isn't good enough to play now. No, no. I think I bluff this. He draws 2, so I feel that having seen those two juices, and he instantly folded. And it's quite possible I actually had the best hand there. Quite possible. Probably an even chance he had the best hand. I think I fold this. Maybe I could have. Again, I had 2 juices there. Maybe I could have come in. The reason why I didn't raise there, which I often would, is because of Gerasim behind me. He would 3-bet me quite often, or call quite often. And then with the jack draw, I'm not exactly enjoying it. So I've got a second nut flush draw here. Nothing else though. There's 2 low cards on the board. 3 sevens on the button. I might actually raise that up. Just pat it. I must admit to a slight. So I can certainly. Do I raise this up or do I just call? I just call. Do I check it or do I bet? I check. That's what he does. Oh, he just pots it, so I fold. So I'm in this sort of holding pattern here where not a lot's going on after that very, very that eventful second period of play. Not quite so much is going on here. And actually, more is going on the single draw table over here. I'm going to go jack, the made jack. Actually, my 6,000 in chips. I do have over 6,000, so it felt like I could really build on that. I'm going to fold this. Somewhere on the button, I think you could probably raise that. Maybe, maybe, maybe. Close, I think. Yeah, I must admit to a certain sense of sort of feeling of envy when I saw people playing badugi. I didn't see them, that's the thing. I had no working laptop at the time when it was on. The badugi uh, World Coupe. There's other things, other tournaments I could have played, and I just wasn't able to, which was a real bugger. So as I said in previous videos, I'm an expert when it comes to missing stuff. Either I'm away somewhere, I've got to work, or my computer's dead, or this or that. Um, so Stuttgart, I don't know why there's an A between the U and the double T. I have no idea. But it's some sort of German pun that I don't quite get. So not many people have joined. Only 63. Sorry, it's 30, I'm dyslexic this morning. 36 players have played this tournament. Now, I think I regret not doing what I did. I needed to actually open this up on the button, and pat. That's what I had to do there. So that was a mistake. People don't actually pat bluff very often in this game. They really don't. And I think. Uh, so it had chances where I could have. We didn't bet that, which, I think he should probably at least consider betting there. But anyway, I think that's a close one, 987. I, yeah, had chances where things could have gone really well for me. I just didn't hit some of those big draws when I really needed to. Here I've got a great hand. I mean, well, I wouldn't say it's great, it's good. Obviously, I've got the nut low. And I can maybe get people off other hands if they don't have the nut low. The thing is, somebody else could have the nut low, and I could still make a straight. So I'd love to see if queen. Now I've got the nut flush draw too, so I've picked up more equity. I bet 2,000. I get a fold. Okay, that's all right. Two pair. Doesn't matter that they're sevens and twos. You just have to give that up. So I'm in third place in this tournament at the moment. Good hand here. Double suited. I've got counterfeit protection if ace or deuce comes. I can still make the nut low, which is really, really useful. And also I can make the nut flush. So this is a really good hand. And a big card would have been nice, like ace king 3-2 double suited. But anyway, I take it down. Didn't get any action. It was a bit of a shame. Nothing going on here. Not a lot going on right now on either table. I get a free look with this hand, but I completely whiff that flop. Had some possibilities here. I could make a straight. I could make, um, a flush, but so he just pots it. Rat 61 pots it, and don't have a good hand here. If it folds round, if it folded round to me, I would have, I think, completed. But I'm pretty sure I raised this up here. And that's a really odd fold. The odds that you were getting there, if you limp in, um, didn't expect him to fold there. Actually, Ken, didn't expect that at all. They chop that up. Someone had the set of queens. I think the other one had. So now I've got a two-card draw. I'm pretty sure I go. Yeah, I raise this as well. It's all happening now, isn't it? He's got a two-card draw. I've got a two-card draw. And I bet this. I'm sure I bet it. And I get a fold here with my two pairs. So if you hit two pair or you hit trips, now I do have a baby flush draw, but that's absolutely hopeless. I just have to fold. He donked into me on that flop. I mean, I was the pre-flop raiser, and he just bet straight into me. I obviously had to fold. So you definitely can bluff with no limit single draw. More so, much more so, I think, than in 08. So draws two, I draw one, and I win that. So I got 6,500. So my draw wasn't that good, but it was just enough to open it in that position, I think. Cool with a two-card draw, which is kind of interesting. Oh. So, this is rainbow, don't have a good load possibility. And I don't know why I didn't bet this, actually. Because I drew two, and that's why I didn't bet it. Because I drew two, and somebody was pat, and some people slow play pat hands. I mean, I could have bet it, but I felt that I was torching money there. I mean, usually after the draw, I do bet with a straight. Oh, somebody made grabbed a great big pot there. Yeah, on the button, I think I'd go with it with nobody else limping in first. If it folded round to me on the button, I would open it up and pat it. So these two pair hands or trip hands where you've got a whole bunch of low cards. It's a good idea to do. Now, what have I got here? I bet this, and that was not a good river card for me. I bet it because I had some equity. It was a semi bluff, and rat had a low and a that was really weird actually. So when I bet that turn, and I suppose he had some equity, didn't he? But yeah, I guess that call was fine. But on the turn, he didn't have a low or a high basically. Anyway, funny is making that second pair on the river got him the high and the low. A little bit unlucky, man. Just looking at what I would have made. And there's this D-man who comes in, and he seems to play a fairly big part in the remainder of this tournament, as you will see. But it's actually very interesting for me to go back and look at this and see what I did, because I mean I can't remember. Sometimes actually when I see the hand, it jogs my memory. Oh well, yeah, that's the one where I bet the turn, and he called me, and I just had to fold the river or whatever, whatever it was. Or that's the hand where I made the nut flush, whatever. It's the hand where I made the top full house and got no action, whatever it might be. I think I raised this up. And you want to see that, you want to see him fold, you want to see him fold, you want to see him fold, and he calls. It's like, ah, bugger. People often, so now I just check this down. Well, I check and do what he does. Oh, he had a Jack 10-9. Okay, so you didn't bet it. So I've actually won a ton of these little pots. These little pots where you have a good um, you don't actually have a good hand, you don't make a good hand, but neither does the other player, and you win. Those little pots help, and I haven't in single draw. I haven't really won many pots like that. So I kind of, when I look at that, I think of a badugi hand, and I think, well, I'd keep the 5 of the 3, the middle 2 cards here, not the spade. But or whether I would draw 1, keep the 9. It's one of those ones in badugi where you have a choice to make. Do you keep the 9 or not? It's often very close. Depends if it's multi-way. If it's heads up, it's best to keep the 9. But anyway, this is not badugi. And I have, on occasions, played this tournament and badugi at the same time. And I had to be, which you will see, actually. Maybe you will see that, because in 20 minutes, there will be, I will start a pot limit badugi tournament, and who knows, I might still be in this tournament. Now, got a pretty handy draw here. I can't remember what happens with this one. So I have to call. It's a pretty small 3-bet. So I mean, I have to call. Unfortunately, I don't hit. And he draws 2, and I remember this hand being very, very frustrating. He draws 2, so I was the favourite. You 3-bet that hand, which makes no sense at all. But I hit a king. I can't bet, really. You just hope that he's made worse than a king, but he doesn't. He has a better king than me, and there's 2,500 that pot. So that would have taken me up to about 7,000. So I had a few little pots like that where I could have won even with the hand I made, but I didn't. You're actually a slight underdog to win if you make a king. The queen, you'd have been a favourite. So yeah. Yeah, more than half the time you make a queen, you'll win, but slightly less than half the time you make a king, you will win. If he draws 2. Just frustrating. He made a king as well, a slightly better one. Yeah. So I make a note of him here, playing silly buggers with a 2-card draw. You got a bigger pot than you otherwise would have done, but you know but the three bet was small enough that you weren't going to get a fold from that. So I don't really know what purpose that serves. It's actually throwing, on average, you're throwing money away by doing that. A good hand here. It's not fantastic, but it's good. Obviously, I'm going to have to call. It's min raise, go three-way, and I flop well. I'm pretty sure I just check to the initial raiser. Now, do I bet here? No, I don't. Which is just as well, because the board runs out really badly for me. The low doesn't get there. So I lose the minimum on that hand. So I've lost a little bit on 19,000. At one point, I think my top was around 28. My peak was around 28. So I'm down about a third from that. One thing you'll notice that most of the time you are not going to be at your peak. It's quite rare that you'll actually be in a situation with, oh, this is the, I have never had more chips than this at any point. So he makes a trip. Oh, he actually made a full house there. Kings full of fives, wasn't it? He made kings full of sixes rather. Kings full of sixes. Yeah. Uh, so now I'm down to under 4,000 in the single draw. So sort of run into some stormy seas. Fifth place here though still. So this one's still, even though I haven't run so well in this session so far, it's still. And you got Pumaji from New Zealand. Good hand here. Okay, now what do I do here? I think I bet, even though it's not a fantastic, it was just a C bet. This is a pure C bet. Now I've got two pair as well. I'm trying to think, what do I do here? Bet half the pot. He calls me. Now I'm in a bit of a crappy situation. I've got two pair. I have a live three as my low. So I do make a low, which is useful. I have to call him and hope. And I meet chop. Ooh, that could have got really nasty. Could have got really nasty. And I'm not sure what the right thing to do there was. It's really difficult being out of position. Do I just call or do I three? I think I just call because I don't have good side cards here. I fold this, which I think is the right thing to do. Now, do I bet this? Try and remember what I do here. Pretty sure I do bet it. 2-2-2-2, just over half the pot, sort of nearly 60% of the pot, and I get an immediate fold. Now, what about this hand? I don't like this hand. Just looking at it now, I think I folded. Oh, I could, yeah, I do actually, because he's sitting out. Okay, so yeah, I do go with that. I do raise it up. What was awkward about this, I didn't know whether Math 549i was going to continue sitting out. Fold that in that position. And he is taking, this guy here is taking his, sweet time over this. Presumably he might not even be sitting down at all. So I've actually got a straight flush draw. I think I just checked this. Do I just check it back? Or do I bet? I bet. Okay, but I min bet this. I'll just try to mess around with the bet size a little bit. Fire out a little feeler bet there, I suppose. My low wasn't very good, but I did have that straight flush draw. I thought, well, bet something. I actually don't know what the best thing to do there was. So now I can just fold. Garbage here. He just raises it. Goes all in there. Wow. He's the sort of person who does that, even when he has a biggish stack. So I joined the badugi tournament, thinking, well, just in case I might forget. That's really I've got a great hand here, fantastic hand. I've got Broadway potential, some Broadway possibilities. I've got obviously nut low with some backup. I've got nut flush possibilities, and everybody folds. Still thinking back to that hand 5 minutes ago, whenever it was, when I had and I don't know whether I did that right, when I had made those two pair, and low possibilities. It was just a difficult one there. Bet the flop, bet the turn. Then he shoves on the river, and I just have to call and hope that I don't lose all my stack, or nearly all my stack, most of my stack. That could have been really bad. Unfortunately, I pair my 8. I decide not to bet. I think partly because it's such a huge portion of my stack to do that. And I've never seen this certainly before, and he might not even know what he's doing. He might call me with, you know, ace king, or 5-5 ace king queen or something. I mean, I just don't know. So I call here, and again I don't hit. So going through a run of not hitting stuff, which is causing me a problem. After making a pretty reasonable start, or reasonable, like half an hour in, or an hour into this tournament, I was doing pretty well. So you say, here we go. Here he is. He doesn't know what he's doing, but he actually would have. I think he would have called me with that, and I would have beaten him. Oh, so you make number 5. You slow play, didn't you? Just open, or just you min raised with that hand, and then I called. Wow. So you had number 5. You just min opened with pat number 5. So I'm not in a good spot now, am I? Here we go though. This is a much better spot. No low possibility. I can make it. The 9 is kind of a bit of a crappy card here though. I've got a good draw here, an 8 draw with the gut shot though, which reduces its value a little bit. Oh, I call. So I'm putting all my chips on the line. I survive. Wow, and I was an underdog there. I was an underdog because a small underdog, because my draw had a gut shot and his didn't. Uh, And he pats. I make a pair of sevens. Maybe I should have gone for a bet here, actually. I decided not to bet, and I think I should have bet. I think I should have bet. You know, it's just being very short. I think I would have bet if I'd been deeper, if I'd had more chips. Uh, I think I should have still bet there anyway. So I don't looking back, I don't think I played this tournament very well. Okay. Oh, I lose that. I remember that one feeling that most of the time I was going to win. When you just checked it, when you just checked there, I really expected to win. I thought you'd certainly have better hand as strong as 10-7 in that situation. So I was expecting, if you'd bet, I would have called too. So depends how much you'd bet, of course. So an okay sort of hand. So here, now see we've got 24 left, 23 get paid. This means we're on the bubble. Okay, so you can see the bubble play can be kind of interesting. That yeah, from a kind of selfish point of view, with a reasonable stack, I actually want the bubble to not burst. We'll continue to play. I think I accidentally was about to close down the table that I was playing on, thinking I'd closed down one of the replay tables like that one there. So another nice morning here, isn't it? Well, it's a lovely morning. It's nice. Geez, autumn, which we are now in, is a very nice time here. If you wanted to come to Timisoara, if you want to show me, if you want me to show you around, just hit me up. Um, and I'd say not to come now though. Not to come now. We've got this thing. You might have heard about it on the news. It's called I think it's COVID, something like that. I think it might even have a number after. What was it, 17 or 23 or something like that? And if it's kind of this obscure thing, and it doesn't make you feel very well when you get it, so you have to kind of watch out. But anyway, we have that here, and the numbers are just going to go through the roof because people have not had this thing that you can take that means that if you get COVID, you don't get quite so sick. And people here have decided they don't want to bother with that thing. So, which is a real shame, actually. So now, so whilst I've been talking, how about I actually go back. We've been talking about this. Right. Go back to right at the beginning of this hand. I was talking about, well, something actually a little bit more important. Anyway, I'm so I have a very good starting hand. That's one thing here. This is an interesting hand. It's a big hand. This Romanian guy here, and I just call. I just call the button raise, and he comes in as well. I don't know what he has, and I flop well. I have kings with an ace kicker. What do I do here? Have a, he's saying I've probably got a king. He could have queen. He could have a pair of queens here too. A check. And then I go for the check raise, having made this the full house on the turn. I go for a check raise. I don't think he's got king queen. I'm betting here that he doesn't have king queen. I actually think if he had king queen, he would have bet more than half the pot. But I might be wrong about that. So now he's got a decision to make here. And he just folds. He actually folds relatively quickly. And I get up to 37,000. And he has gone from having a reasonable stack to being in a bit of poo. So that was an interesting hand. Sorry, I had to go back because I was talking about COVID, which people are just sleepwalking through what is going to sleepwalking into what is going to be a very difficult autumn. I think we've got the delta. Most of what we have here is not the Delta variant. Um, 2/3 of all adults are not vaccinated, and people are not being vaccinated now. I mean, you can. It's very extremely easy to go and get a jab. It's you don't even have to make an appointment. I could get one now if I wanted, if I hadn't already had my 2 jabs. Uh, and I think I might even get a third jab sometime. Maybe next month I might be able to get a third jab because I didn't have Pfizer. I had AstraZeneca. And so we had Pfizer here, we had AstraZeneca, we had four. We also had Johnson and Johnson, we had Moderna. Um, so I think if I am going to get a booster shot, I would get either Moderna or Pfizer. Um, Most people here have had Pfizer. I decided to get AstraZeneca because well, I didn't decide. I just got whatever. I just wanted whatever they gave me. So they chopped that one up. So I've got 37,000. I'm in a very nice position here. I'm thinking I'm in second place out of 24. The bubble hasn't burst yet. We've been on the bubble a little while now, and I'm thinking, well, I can make the final table. I can make the the business end of the final table. This is a kind of a little bit exciting now. Now Gerasim is doing now this. Now Gerasim goes all in here, and I have the odds to call. Now, do I call or do I fold? What do I do? I think I fold. Yeah. I don't know if that's too tight. I would have opened it myself, and I call here. I feel that you're going to call as well. Oh, you don't though, and I think I'm being frustrated about that. And of course, I miss. And that was me out of the tournament. I think we were basically flipping there. I had a better draw. I could have made a better hand, but I also had a gut shot, just like the other time I had a gut shot too. So that was me out of the tournament. I think only 9 got paid. I finished 17th or something. So I miss out. Yeah, I didn't run all that hot. That was the thing. There were times when I could have won a pot, and I just didn't. Just I also feel like I needed to bluff a little bit more. Maybe there was a time when I could have 3-bet pre the draw, and I decided not to. Like I needed to be a little bit more aggressive. Maybe bet a bit bigger when I actually did make a good hand. I didn't make any really big hands. I made a couple of 8-7s early on, I think, which were big hands. But now here is pot limit badugi about to start. So this is where it can get a bit confusing. So I haven't got my notes. I'll still see if I can get my notes back. If I can import everything from now. I had a lesson last night where this guy told me about bootable hard drives and stuff. And I'll try to create a bootable hard drive, bootable, sorry, USB drive. The word bootable, it's so weird, isn't it? I still remember, what year was it? 1990. That's right, it was 1990. And my parents decided, well, we're going to get into the modern age. We're going to buy a computer. Got a computer, and it didn't have a monitor. We just used the TV as the monitor. That's what we used, and and it was expensive. When I look back, it was expensive. You know, I mean, for the time. Remember, it cost the computer and everything cost 800 and something pounds. Just over 800, which at the time that was a lot of money. I think they thought that with me and my brother, we've got two boys here, we're going to have to get them into the modern age anyway. And the first instruction it had was something about booting up, and I remember my parents went, you know, what on earth does boot up? What on earth could boot up mean? It's just like just what? Boot up? It's so ridiculous. And now you actually hear boot and I mean, we thought it was. I even thought it was laughable. Boot up your PC. It's like giving a kick up the backside, kick up the ass. It's just. It's funny how now we talk about reboot your PC, or it's just. I don't know. And even at films, I've heard a reboot. It's like that's just so weird. Now, what do I do here? Oh, this is where I got confused and thinking for momentarily that it was single drawer. Oh, sorry. Oh, PLO8. Single drawer's gone. I'm out of single drawer. No more single drawer. So yeah, 17th place. 9 get paid. That's right. Didn't get any bounties either. Some people have done quite nicely, including Kent, who's often around. I think looks like he bought him a second time. So I flopped pretty well here. So we've got the nut low now. I was gonna I was hoping to him he would bet on the flop. So what does he do? So yeah, I just have the nut low. Also have counterfeit protection, the 5, in case an ace or deuce comes on the river. And he just folded, okay. The bubble still hasn't burst yet. Do I call it? I think I do. Because I'm getting just the sheer odds. Do I fold? Oh, I fold. Oh, hang on, it's badugi. It's not PLO8. That's why I fold. Ah. So why did I fold that? Why didn't I at least, but 7-4 is not that good. It's a 2-card draw in badugi. It can get you into a little bit of trouble. So, end up making sort of second best hands sometimes. You just. Like, what if you hit an 8 of spades or something? You then have 8-7-4. You'd probably end up calling a bet there. You might make your 8 then, and it's like, you make a rough 8. And if you hit inside, it's not so bad. 7-4, but the other thing is your 3-card hand has no real showdown value there. That's the other thing with that. Whereas 6-4, it kind of does. Sometimes 6-4-2, 6-4 ace will actually win at showdown. Not very often, but occasionally enough to be a deciding factor. Now this is a very good hand, obviously in badugi. My decision here is, do I want to keep the jack or not? I think it's close, but in a multi-way pot, I'll definitely want to ditch the jack. I think if it's heads up, you might want to keep it. So raise to 90 just to get a little bit of money into the pot. And I've got a terrible hand. Now, that was an interesting one. Before I think I started recording, somebody had a hand like that, trip tens, and so I draw one, and maybe I could have kept my jack there, but they both drew two. But I still think that just because I have the best hand, the best three card hand so often, now what do I decide to do here? I think I just check this back on the turn, because I don't want to get check raised. I think that's why. Your pot control I feel is quite important. And now I think I go for a bet on the river, a value bet, a small value bet, less than half the pot. I'm pretty sure he just folds. Okay, so I get with a little pot though. Things I broke a better hand than what I ended up with. So I still think that deciding what to do on that first draw, I think it was a really close decision. Here okay, almost a family pot by the looks of things. So yeah, somebody had trip tens, and they played it. They thought, well, I've got tens. I've got all these tens. That must be fantastic. And the board came out. The river made a third queen came on the river. It's making obviously any queen would give you the nuts there, quad queens, and he had a full house with one of the fifth best full house. Is that right? Yeah, I don't think a king came or an ace came on the board. It could have done. Don't think so though. So he had queens full of tens, and anyway, somebody bet on the river, and he just went all in, put the rest of his chips in, and the other guy said, yeah, I quite like that idea. I think I'm happy with that. Called. He flipped over his queen. And this other guy had, was out of the tournament with his 10, 10, 10, whatever it was. Yeah, so there's some crazy play in '08, which is why I've got it in the Poker for Muppets channel. Now I haven't really hit this flop. So now though, I've got a second nut. I'm pretty sure I just check it back though. The second nut low draw. Do I bet now? I think I do. Do I pot it or something? I'm trying to think what I do here. No, it's a small bet. I just and we split that pot, right? The main pot. There was no side pot. You folded. I actually just wanted him to call me there. Wasn't trying to blow him off. I actually just wanted him to call me. So I thought he could have called me with a worse low and a no high. I had some sort of high. Don't have a good hand there. Let that go. The bubble still hasn't burst. This Stiukaru is not in a very good position. Doesn't have a great stack. So it's actually to my advantage that the bubble doesn't burst, because you can abuse it a bit when you've got a good stack. Which I haven't really been doing. Haven't been going crazy with any hand. It's a good hand for '08, not so good for this game. What happens there? Do I just get a walk here? Next 3 hours, okay. I must raise this up. Does he go all in? Do you remember how this works now? He does. So I was almost flipping. I had a very slight edge, and I win. I make the Broadway. So there's that noise telling us that by him being knocked out, I do make some money, but that's not my main concern. I'm actually top. I was actually first place in this tournament at this point. This guy, so he disconnected, which is always. I always feel sorry for people when they disconnect. It happens to me sometimes. It's awful. Not like that situation when the bet size was so small, but so now 45,500. So again, this has been another good session for me. Second half of this session especially. First half was very much just meh, not much happening. Break is coming up. I'm get involved with this hand. Do I just call here? I'm pretty sure I do. Which might be a bit exploitable. Which means I think to do that I need to include sometimes just call with very, very strong hands too to open limp, and then maybe go for a limp re-raise if somebody raises me. So what do I do here? I bet. Do I bet again? No, I don't think I do, because all these full houses beat me. Or maybe I do bet. Oh, I don't think I do. I've got the bad end of the full house. But I win. I wasn't quite sure what to do there. Whether he would have called me with anything worse than what I had. All I had was ace king. So, yeah. Yeah, there's also the Broadway there, so 7-8. So 8 queen beats me, queen king beats me, and all those full houses beat me. And of course pocket nines beats me. But I think if it had pocket nines, I might have known about it. And it's coming up to break time. The break. It is break time. Okay, so I think it was an interesting session. Still going along in the badugi as well. That will continue after the break. And I, yeah, you'll see what happens next in part 4. In part 4, you'll actually see as I play. This one I've been commentating on what happened, after the event. Part 4 is real-time stuff. Yeah, enjoy what you're doing. Hope you have a nice. Hope your weather wherever you are is as nice as it is here. It's really very nice here today. Um, so yeah. Um, I hope you enjoyed this third part and enjoy part 4 as well. Okay, bye.